All right, everybody, good morning and welcome to Management Training on Employment Law. Let's get started. As a company, it is important that we comply with the employment federal laws. Together, we have compiled 9 laws that we deem extremely important and that we would really like to focus on when it comes to training our management teams here. These laws include Civil Rights Act, the Fair Labor Standards Act, the Family and Medical Leave Act, Age Discrimination, Americans with Disabilities Act, Equal Pay Act, Occupational Safety and Health Act, and Pregnancy Discrimination Act. To begin, it is the Civil Rights Act. This act protects our employees against any individual discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, color, etc. The act also protects from any harassment in the workplace. With this being said, we expect our management teams to treat everyone with the same amount of respect. I'll even bring back that golden rule that you learned in elementary school and state that you should treat everyone the way you want to be treated. That's really what we're going for here with our management teams. Everyone working for our company should feel that it is a safe place to come to work. Because of this, the company has created more programs to further educate on this act to ensure that we are all treating everyone with the utmost respect. These include harassment seminars and diversity classes to further learn how to implement diversity into the workplace. The next federal law we're going to look at is the Fair Labor Standards Act. This act establishes the standards of minimum wage countrywide, the overtime pay, and child labor laws. Now, please keep in mind that these laws are federal laws. This means that this is almost like a base that the federal government would like us to be at. And as of right now, Florida actually has a higher state minimum wage regulations than the federal government, with the state looking at about $8.46 an hour, and the federal laws state that minimum wage should be, or the base should be $7.25 an hour. This act will also ensure that our employees are receiving the correct amount of breaks and payment for things such as training and meetings, anything kind of extra. I suggest that you truly keep an eye on our CAS deployment system to make sure everyone is receiving the proper amount of allotted breaks for hours worked, seeing as this has been an issue in the past when you have to kind of move people around to accommodate for call-outs, people coming back late from their breaks. Sometimes our CAS deployment system eliminates people's breaks, and then you'll figure out 30 minutes before you close that someone has a 45-minute break that they never got to take. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Every week, a leader in our area will be assigned labor duty, and they will need to go on to WorkBrain to double check that each employee is receiving not only the correct amount of pay, but that their hours worked are correct. Again, instances happen where if an employee forgets to clock back in from a break, it can actually erase their whole hours worked for that day. So they'll actually be shorted, an 8-hour shift or a 10-hour shift. So we really just need to make sure that we're staying on top of that and make sure everything is equaling out the correct way. Our employees have the right to FMLA or Family Medical Leave. The Family Medical Leave Act provides the employees with 12 weeks of unpaid time off. This could be for the care of themselves, for immediate family members, or maybe childbirth or the adoption of a child. It is important as managers to understand that if an employee comes to you about time off and doesn't directly say that they want to use FMLA is still or can still be taken. So make sure you really listen to what's going on in their life and the requests that they're asking. They don't have to verbally say that they want to use their FMLA. Also, as managers, please remain in contact with your employees. Things happen, especially if it's on like a medical leave or if they're taking care of somebody. Things change with sicknesses and they may need to take more time off, so make sure you're keeping in contact with your employees just in case anything changes. Another law that is important is the Age Discrimination Act. This act focuses on the fact that employees can not discriminate individuals while they are employees or applicants over the age of 40 in any way because of their age. It is important that you never take someone's age into account when making decisions on hiring, firing, the pay, or the benefits of the individuals. I want you all as managers to understand that you should never assume that an individual is incapable of doing their job at hand because of their age. Assuming that, we all know what happens when you assume. Never do that, and we should be pretty clear on this, never to ask about someone's age during an interview. Avoid that at all costs. The fifth act is Americans with Disabilities Act. The act prohibits the discrimination based on the disability that may limit life activities. As a company, we need to provide reasonable accommodation for this individual. An example of this could be an injury where an employee needs to sit down every 30 minutes. Let's say this employee is at a register position where they're constantly standing. We can offer them a chair so they can sit down whenever they need to sit down, so they can still are able to do their job, and then they have that chair there so they can, when they're feeling pain or something, they can sit down and they're still able to do their job. You will get in touch with me in the HR department to help make sure that the employee is as comfortable as possible and make sure that all accommodations are met. Remember to never reject applicants based on a disability and never ask them questions during an interview process regarding their situation. The Equal Pay Act is something we strive very hard to keep on top of. The act states that employees need to be paid the same amount for equal work that requires the same skill, effort, knowledge, and responsibility. We try to really focus on this by staying tight to our union contract for our employees. This contract states how much individuals should be paid based on their job title. For example, a frontline merchandise cost member, no matter the age, no matter how long they have been working there, will all get paid $10 an hour, whereas a frontline merchandise coordinator, no matter the age, no matter how long they work there, gender, anything like that, will get paid $13 an hour. That is the contract. If there is any reason to believe that that is not the case, please head right on over to the HR department so we can do a thorough investigation. OSHA in our company is just as important as any other federal act. This requires that we run our business free from recognized hazards. One thing we try to do here as a company is ensure that our employees are receiving the correct training when it comes to chemicals and equipment used in the workplace. But this could literally mean anything. How to operate a ladder correctly so nobody gets injured. We may not have chemicals in the workplace. We just may have cleaning supplies, but proper usage of the cleaning supplies. So nobody gets hurt. But really, training doesn't stop at just chemicals and equipment. It could be how to lift items properly, lifting items so no one's getting hurt on the job, how to read warning signs of what areas you can be in and what areas you cannot be in. These are all very important in the workplace, and as managers, we need to make sure that the employees are up to date with their training and recertifications. This will help us in the end if someone does get injured on the job. We can see if everything is up to date, so please make sure that they are staying up to date on all of that. The last act we're going to talk about is the Pregnancy Discrimination Act. This act prohibits the discrimination on the basis of pregnancy or pregnancy-related conditions. Women who are affected by pregnancy-related conditions need to be treated with the same respect as an employee next to them. As managers, we need to make sure that these women are not being discriminated on when it comes to work and job promotions because of a pregnancy. We are required to offer them 12 weeks of minimum unpaid leave, but it's important to keep in touch with your employee to see if anything changes. Just like FMLA, things happen, and we are here to help our employees. As a company, we are actually working on offering pregnancy leave for male employees too, and this actually falls into with our Equal Pay Act. Why can't a male take off time, unpaid medical leave, or unpaid leave to take care of his unborn or his newborn child? All right. In conclusion, as a company, we try to ensure we are following all federal laws that protect our employees. Seeing as our employees spend most of their week at work, this is our top priority for us. If you hear any complaints from employees on something not being sound, please come to my HR department as soon as possible. And thank you for attending this training session.